New this morning, Ronald Lipscomb, a Baltimore developer and Mayor Dixon's former boyfriend, is scheduled to be sentenced later this morning. Lipscomb pleaded guilty in June to violating campaign finance law. He was accused of paying for a political poll for City Councilwoman Helen Holton in exchange for her help in getting tax breaks on development projects. Lipscomb's plea deal calls for a 1-year suspended sentence. Trick-or-treaters will be out in force this Halloween, as will police trying to protect kids from sexual predators. In a letter mailed this week, officials asked all registered sex offenders not to decorate their homes or do anything that might attract trick-or-treaters. They even included signs that read "No candy" to post outside of their doors. Officials say if they're caught violating the no contact with children order, they will go to jail. A Baltimore man is in custody facing a long list of charges related to a deadly hit-and-run accident that killed a Johns Hopkins student, but he is not directly charged with her death. Attorney Steve Allen joins us this morning to sort out what all the charges mean and what could come next. Good morning.
Good morning, Patrice.
All right, so he originally faced about 18 charges, and prosecutors have since dropped several of them, and only the most serious charges remain. Explain why they did that and why those charges were left.
Well, of course, we have the leaving the scene charges in various forms, which are still out there, for which you could get a 5 or 6 year sentence if the judge were to make the sentences consecutive. With regard to the death of the girl, at this point it's too early to charge for manslaughter. You have to be able to demonstrate that he was driving in a grossly negligent manner with a reckless indifference for person's safety. And they're going to have a difficult time with that, particularly since she stepped off the curb.
Well, but so many witnesses say they saw this man in this truck driving erratically and down wrong one-way streets and so forth over the course of 5 hours on that day. Would that not be enough to say he was out of control driving and resulted in her death? That
would be good circumstantial evidence of that fact. But of course, you still have to put him behind the wheel. And that's going to be a difficult thing for the prosecutors. Unless they have a witness who will say, I saw him driving.
Okay.
Or he makes a statement to someone where he admits it. It could be anyone else driving his vehicle. Merely because your vehicle is involved in an accident doesn't make you liable.
So how then are they able to charge him with anything if they can't say that he was behind the wheel?
Well, they may be taking this up as a test balloon to see what they can prove and what comes out of it. And they may also just have very serious problems establishing gross negligence. If they could show he was drinking and that his blood level was at an intoxicated level, then they would have a much easier time of proving homicide by motor vehicle, either a 5 or 3-year offense, depending on how drunk he was.
And talk about the double jeopardy part of this. You know, if they left all the original charges and he went and paid those tickets, then that could essentially get him out of any jail time. Talk about the whole double jeopardy issue.
Well, not all the charges.
Some of them.
But the negligent driving charge, Maryland about 20 years ago, in a case called Gainey, said that if you have a minor charge, which is what we call a lesser included offense, the same elements as the major charge, and you go ahead and pay the ticket, you're then protected by the double jeopardy clause of our Constitution. So on the negligent driving charge, if he were to pay that ticket, which they've withdrawn, then they would have a difficult time charging him with manslaughter, which is the same basic elements: driving in a negligent or grossly negligent